What's up, chat? How's it going? Welcome back in, everybody. It's a Sunday fun day today, as Nurgleman was saying earlier over here in the chat. Yeah, I had a little bit of extra time today. Didn't know if I would be able to be live with today's Grotsmas Detachment, but we did end up having that, so that's good. Just one stream today, though. I have some personal stuff to do, and then I'm going to do a Best Armies in 40K this weekend. I don't know if it's going to be a long one, but definitely want to give myself some open time for that. So if you are watching on Monday, then you'll be able to enjoy that wonderful fare. So yeah, Black Templars out today towards the end of the Grotsmas season, and it certainly was a detachment that was released for Warhammer 40K. I don't know if we will talk about it. It's something. It's like fine. I guess it's definitely a detachment. You're legally allowed to play it. Yeah, one of the most detachments that ever did detach. But I think they maybe strayed a little too close to what Black Templars have as standard, and nothing's really changed from the other detachments. So it is what it is. But that's okay. We'll talk about it. We'll build a list. I'm like halfway through list building, but I'm really not sure where to go because there's not a lot to really sink your teeth into here. But yeah, we'll go ahead and jump into it, I guess. Let's put a goal down. I don't have time to play a game today, unfortunately, chat, but I will play a game tomorrow if we hit the goal. Boom. I should have done this before, but I forgot. There we go. Got a super chat goal going. Legitimately, the best way to play is probably not at all play Black Templars, instead play a bunch of Handmade Intercessors with invulns. I mean, I guess so. But, like, it doesn't even really have support for those, though. You know, like, you could play them with invulns, but you could play anything else also. Okay, I don't know. All right, here we go. Let's dive in. So let's talk, as we do with these factions that only have one existing detachment, let's talk about the detachment that we have currently and what we would give up were we to swap into Wrathful Procession, which is the new detachment. There we are. So this is the original Righteous Crusaders, right? This is the existing Black Templars detachment. Obviously, this being Black Templars and being a Space Marine sub-faction, we do have access to all of the other Space Marine stuff, and you can do the thing where you just play a regular Space Marine army and don't take any Black Templar stuff and get all the bonus, the +1 to wound bonus from the new December update and all that stuff. Which, by the way, I played in a tournament this weekend, is super broken. +1 to wound? Holy shit, dude. What the fuck? I killed a Warden squad, a Custodian Warden squad with an Intercessor unit with their guns. That's nuts. So you give up the Templar Vows. This is selected at the start of the first battle round. You can get Feel No Pain. You can get an anti-invulnerable save, an anti-psychic invulnerable save, sustained or lethal hits. Typically, it's like one of the two offensive buffs, but also the Feel No Pain is pretty good. And then there are stratagems to switch in and out of those different oaths. The unfortunate part, I think, here is that basically this entire faction's built a little bit around these Templar Vows. So we have effects like if we go to somebody like Grimaldus, or Helbrecht here, excuse me, we have effects like his. This is going to be cut off a little bit, but he gives critical hits on an unmodified 5+. But he doesn't do anything with those critical hits himself. Like, he has no keywords. His units, he's not contributing any keywords. You have to take, if you want to get a benefit from his leadership ability, you have to also take either a lieutenant or a castellan, because he's supposed to be played in Righteous Crusaders, and you're supposed to have a critical effect on all your weapons. But he doesn't do that. So, like, there's some weirdness with switching out of this detachment because it's not particularly synergistic. So that's what you're giving up if we are taking this brand new detachment, Wrathful Procession. Now, I think, and it's funny because it feels like the through line so far is that every time someone, at least in our live streams, every time someone has asked for a detachment to be a thing, it has been that thing. Whether or not that's been good. Like, literally, we were talking about the town detachment the other day, and I said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if it was an auxiliary-focused detachment that gave you something for playing auxiliaries together? And it did. It was that. Exactly that. Literally, like, verbatim. Someone else said, hey, what if the Black Templars detachment is a horde-focused detachment? And I think that that's what they're trying to do, but I don't know if it does it as well as either Gladius Task Force or as Righteous Crusaders. So let's talk about why that is. One PCS with Grimaldus is an auto take. Yeah, I think for sure you take Grimaldus. Grimaldus has great play within this attachment for sure. It's feels like kind of all it has going for it, but I don't know. It's okay. So at the start of the battle round, so this is each battle round. It's not just the first battle round, so you can swap these. So these are basically, they're like enhanced combat doctrines almost. You choose them in the battle round. At the start of the battle round, you can choose them multiple times, so it's not a once per game effect. Your army is persistently affected by at least one litany, which is a big deal, right? So you have a persistent effect on everyone, or on infantry and mounted, obviously, that applies to all your stuff, but you're not spending through the effects, right? You don't run out of them. If you do, until the end of that battle round, that litany is active and its effects apply to all infantry and mounted units from your army. This is either Chorus of Relentless Hate, +2 move, and +1 to advance rolls. Rite of Perfervid Wrath, great word. +1 strength to melee weapons, or Chant of Deathless Devotion, 5+ invulnerable save against ranged attacks. These are all good effects to have, and I don't want to say that this is like, nothing. +2 move to all of your infantry and mounted units is huge. If you can combo that with an advance and do things effect. So if you have assault weapons, if you have advance and charge, which is why Grimaldus is great, then you're essentially +3 move. And that is a big deal. You start having like jump pack assault intercessors moving 14 inches, bikers moving 14 inches. Like your utility stuff is faster. It's pretty strong. I don't know if it's strong enough. It's probably not a big enough improvement on your threat range to get slow units into melee by themselves. So I wouldn't expect you to, for example, be able to throw Terminators at your opponent and suddenly be like, hey, this unit's amazing. But it is enough that, especially like infantry and vehicles, I think there's a lot of vehicle play potentially in this attachment, are going to be able to close the distance really well. If you have advance and charge, I think your threat range is phenomenal. And advancing and charging, Crusader unit, for example, move 8 plus D6 plus 1 plus the charge roll. So your minimum of 10 inches, average of 13, I guess, or 12 to 13 inches plus your charge, which is huge, right? That's an enormous threat range. So that's big. Invulnerable save against ranged attacks is very nice to have, although you are a Space Marine, so oftentimes you're saving on 5s anyway. And then +1 strength is okay. There's also a stratagem to flip into different litanies, which we should probably discuss. Voice of Devotion. Real quick here, you usable in your command phase on an infantry or mounted unit, and you can select one of those litanies until the end of the battle round. It replaces the active one. So we can, for example, keep ourselves into 5-up invulnerable save litany, and then give Grimaldus's unit +2 move if we need to get it into the fight or something. So there's a little bit of selection as well. But these are, I would say, outside of the situations where you're really building for them, I think the key is going to be trying to find ways to build to take advantage of these. It is difficult to... these are very kind of minor buffs, right? If you're just a regular unit, having a little movement buff or a little melee strength buff is not going to be transformative to you. So we have to find ways to build around these effects. And I think that like a focus on like mounted units and like a focus on... obviously, that big Crusader squad, and then potentially assault weapons is probably the way to do it. but we'll see once we get to list building. Enhancements. Let's talk about some enhancements. We got some good ones. Pyre brand. Attachable to a Black Templars model only, which I think it just means the Castellan or their captain guy, whose name I just literally forgot. What's his name? The Castellan or the shoot. He is called I literally just had his data sheet in front of my eyeballs, and then I forgot what it was. The Marshal is the name. I'm sure y'all over there in chat are yeah, Marshal. There you go. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Indeed. This detachment needs advance and charge and maybe lance. If you just don't play Black Templars models, you don't need lance. Yeah, but like, so there's the thing, right? If you don't play Black Templars models, first of all, you can't take half the enhancements. Just straight up. So, great. Because those are Black Templars models only. So some of these you absolutely have to take Black Templars to take. And also, like, why are we playing this? If you're like, hey, we could get +1 to wound if we don't take any Black Templars models. Yeah, but you could get like assault for your whole army or advance and charge for your whole army, and lance and a passive +1 to wound if we just play Gladius Task Force. If you don't play Black Templars models, it feels like you're not really, like, you might as well be in a different detachment. I don't really know why you would be playing this one. It's weird. It's a weird one. All right. So Pyre brand gives you stealth. It's 25 points. It's a little expensive, but you get stealth in your army. I think so. Here's the deal. I think we want to stick this into these big units, right? These big units of Primaris Crusaders. Just making them as annoying to kill as possible. We could potentially be 5+ invulnerable save, 5+ feel no pain from Grommalis if we have that litany active. And we can be -1 to be hit. So you can make that unit actually really annoying to kill. And potentially, an Armor of Contempt as well. Because this is a Space Marine detachment. It does have Armor of Contempt. So that seems, I think that's good. This is definitely a solid enhancement. It does require you to take one of the Black Templars characters, but that's pretty good. Sacred Rage is the other one. This is another good one. It's expensive, 30 points. You get fight first once per battle, start of the fight phase. So again, I think they're trying to get you to play these big units that your opponent has to multi-phase commit into in order to kill them. I kind of, for a hot second, I was toying, like, maybe, can we make Terminators work with this detachment? I don't think we can. I don't think they hit particularly hard, and they're kind of slow. We could, like, for example, do rapid ingresses with teleports, and then either buff their movement so they get into melee. If your opponent can try to kill them, they probably need to engage multi-phases. You get a fight, once per game fight first. This is Adeptus Astartes only, so or Adeptus Astartes keyworded, not Black Templars. So you can put it on not chapter stuff, which is nice. So we could put it on, chapter Ancients or Terminator Ancients or something. But I'm just not sure that a bunch of like strength 8 melee attacks is really worth the hundreds and hundreds of points that we're putting in. I think this is best used on a big unit that's tough to kill, so that you can ensure that your opponent is incentivized to charge, or in that case, it protects you from being charged because you're either scary enough that they don't want to attack you, and then if they do, you kill them. So they just don't charge you to finish the unit off, and you get another phase of activation out of them, which is where we're basically at. But I don't know if it's as good as the stealth, which will just make you physically harder to kill, right? It will just change the math in your favor. So, and it's tough to fit both of these into a unit. You could take both a Marshal and a Castellan, maybe, to get both of these into a big squad. But again, I'm not sure that's that exciting. Terraman Sensor is a little bit of a weird one. Gives you like the Reaver ability, start of the fight phase. Each enemy unit within engagement range of the bearer's unit must take a battle shock test, subtracting 1 from the result. It can prevent some. It's each fight phase, right? So it's not just your fight phase, and it can prevent some interruption. It can prevent some CP usage and steal objectives away. But battle shock forcing is not that exciting. This is only a 15-point enhancement though, so it's a little bit of a points filler. Last and certainly not least is definitely, or actually maybe least, I don't know. It's definitely a points filler. Benediction of Fury has returned. This was the old Relic Crozius that everyone had like through 8th edition. The +1 damage Relic Crozius, and then And then you could use, there was the Exhortation of Rage, I think, was like +1 damage. You could get to 4 damage out of this thing. It was nuts. It just gives you devastating wounds now on a chaplain. A little 10-point upgrade, kind of nice, but it is what it is. Yeah, you can't put the survivability buffs. Yeah, you can't put the Pyre brand on Terminators because there's no Black Templar Terminator models, right? But you can, like, Armor of Contempt them or whatever. I think the whole... It's very difficult. I don't want to, you know... I don't... It is difficult to kill a Terminator unit without charging it, which is why I think Sacred Rage would be a place to put that. But I don't know how often that's going to come up. Maybe it's better in... like an aggressor squad or something. We could maybe play with aggressors or something, you know, a different heavy infantry unit that's going to be a little sticky to get rid of. But aggressors much easier to kill than Terminators because they don't have the invuln save. Detachment felt very milquetoast. Milquetoast is a great way to put it, right? This is one of the detachments of all time. It's certainly a collection of abilities that you can play in 40k. And there are definitely worse detachments in 40k. There are a lot of better detachments in 40k, but it is what it is. All right. Let's move on to stratagems. There is one big one in here that I think is actually really good and probably better than people give it credit for. But we'll talk about that. Fueled by Faith, you get a 5+ Fiona pin against mortal wounds. Whatever, dude. Cool, man. It's weird because they've printed a bunch of these. Like, there's a whole cycle of these anti-mortal wound stratagems in the Grotsmas detachments. I think we've seen 3 of them, maybe, if I remember correctly. But they're so whatever. Like, you're not doing that many mortal wounds, you know, unless we're fighting opposing Stern Guard veterans. Then we're you know, Thousand Suns, like Cult of Magic. We're really not delivering that many mortal wounds in a game of 40k. And the instances in which a 5+ feel no pain, not even a 4+, a 5+ feel no pain is going to come in, is so narrow that I'm not sure we're really that excited about it, to be perfectly candid. So that's okay. I almost wonder if they're expecting to put more mortal wounds back into the game, which would be something I'm in favor of. I think that this edition, while it is coming back around, playing new Space Marines definitely feels like a little bit of 9th edition energy. I do feel like this edition has been too tanky, but that partially because of the cover rules, everything's -1 AP. But giving people like a 5+ feel no pain in the current incarnation of the game. Current update of the game. Not that exciting. Armor of Contempt. It's Armor of Contempt. We've seen it before, and we'll see it again, I'm sure. Castigate the Demagogues. Your entire Astartes unit in the fight phase gets Precision. So it's like Epic Challenge, but it's for everyone in your unit. It's a strictly better Epic Challenge usable in the fight phase. Again, this is nice to have. Precision is one of the weakest, beneficial keywords of the game. But there are going to be situations where you just go in and you're shooting 100 chainsword attacks at something, and you just want to knock out their character real quick. You get assassination. It's definitely not useless, but it's taking up a stratagem slot in this detachment where we're already locked into Armor of Contempt, and we have this trash ass Feel No Pain stratagem. So, is that worth it? No, I don't think so. So we're halfway through the stratagems, and already we're basically blanked. Armor of Contempt is a really good stratagem, and it's always good to have, but this is a Space Marine detachment, and it's always going to be in there. So that's unfortunate. Brute Favor is not much better. It's usable in the fight phase. I think this would be really interesting if it was usable in the shooting phase as well. I think you would make a cool hybrid detachment, maybe, where you could play both shooting and fight phase stuff, but this is fight phase only. You get reroll 1s to hit with your unit. You select to target a unit that has not fought yet this phase. You reroll 1s to hit, and you ignore weapon skill, hit roll, and wound roll characteristic modifiers. There are going to be situations in which this is really, really strong. I mean, reroll 1s to hit. I think the idea is that you can engage across a wide breadth of your army, and you can oath one thing and get hit rerolls on one unit, and then use Brute Fervor to kill another thing. There are also things like bodyguard units. You know, we just have we had a Sisters detachment entirely built around Sacrosancts that are all permanently -1 to be wounded. You have things like Custodian Wardens that are -1 to be wounded most of the time. A bunch of these different bodyguard effects. Obviously, I think the Deshrat Terminators is a big one. Like this is the anti-death guard stratagem right here. And being able to punch through those effects is huge. I definitely don't think this is a bad stratagem. It's a little unexciting. Again, if this was shooting phase also, it would be amazing. But it's fine. It's a good offensive buff if you're attacking something that's not your oath target, or you need the characteristic ignoring. Three damage dead room Crozius and the Bike Chaplain. Yeah, that's actually not too bad, especially because I think we probably want to be playing Outriders in this attachment. Being able to buff the strength and or movement of Outriders does feel pretty good. In fairness. All right, we talked about voice. I'm going to save this one for last. We talked about Voice of Devotion. You can switch a litany into a different litany in your command phase. Can't work in vehicles, unfortunately, because you can't affect them with things. But it's a good strategy to have. This is a solid one, especially because the litanies are nice buffs. And then Relentless Momentum is the final one. This is a very good strat, a very weird strat, and I think one that's going to catch a lot of people off guard. Whoa!
Nurgle Matthew
Nurgle
donated
Matt!
$77.77 through Super Chat. Happy end of year, Tortoise Power Turtle.
Happy end of year. Merry Grotsmas, Nurgle Matt. Thank you so much, man. That's fucking huge, dude. Hell yeah. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. You are a legend. Thanks for being in the chat room all the time, dude. You just make it so fun to come on stream and just being excited about stuff. What a fucking amazing dude you are. Thank you, sir. That makes my whole ass day. Grandfather Matthew's blessings. Old Grandfather Matthew. I don't know if he's that excited about being called a grandfather. But yeah, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Should that go towards the can we count that as extra towards the goal there, chat? Nurgle Matt, what do you want? What do you want to go towards the Black Templars goal? I'll play tomorrow if you want me to play Black Templars, or you can make me play anything else. How about that? You let me know. Relentless Momentum is next. Oh, by the way, I'm scheduling a game. I think it's gonna happen tomorrow, but I'm scheduling a game playing my last game with Bird Flu. We're gonna see how well Bird Flu can get like diced off the table this time. I have like 2 games in a row where it just died. Like it's the most insane dice you've ever seen, which I'm excited about. So we'll see if we can make that a 3-peat. Get killed by like 13 consecutive 4-up saves or something. Which by the way, I had it in it happened a couple times again yesterday. Playing the new Space Marines is really fun because it was really difficult to get diced by my own dice. My own dice were really good all day. I was like, whoa, I got rerolls everywhere. Everything's twin linked. I get +1 to wound. This is awesome. My whole army's like hitting on 3s, rerolling, like wounding on 2s. This is like the coolest thing ever. And then my opponent would just spike like 20 saves in a row. I'd be like, oh, okay. It's all coming back around. Those old 10th edition moments. I had one where I Storm of Fired a suppressor unit. They shot into a Sisters of Silence squad that my opponent was scoring an objective with. I didn't kill him. I killed 1 model. I was like, well, that's too bad. You know, that happens though. I was like only AP2. And then Marnia's Calgar and 5 intercessors shot them 20. It was a frag grenade for 4 plus Calgar plus the whole unit, so 28 times. I think I handed my opponent like 19 saves or something, and he lost 2 models. I was like, bro. And then the remaining Sister of Silence scored about 12 VP, I think. It was incredible. It was incredible. Real ones remember Devout Push. Indeed. Indeed. Read over this detachment this morning. Excited for Black Templars players. Like for new and improved Devout Push, but it's gone. Yeah. Yes. It is what it is. All right, but we do have Relentless Momentum. Like, realistically, right? This is basically a rewritten. This is a synonym for Devout Push. Relentless Momentum, it's pretty close. So here's what this stratagem does. It's really cool. It's usable in the fight phase on a Space Marine unit from your army that has not been selected to fight and is within engagement range. That's important because you can't have a pulled charge. You can't have a unit that has already killed its charge target. Like, if you double charge and one unit kills the charge target, the other unit can't use Relentless Momentum. You can't do the thing where you roll exact numbers and then pull out of combat and then use this. You have to be engaging an enemy unit. It's not eligible to fight. That's not the requirement, so it doesn't matter whether you've charged that turn or not. It's within engagement range of an enemy. Until the end of the phase, when determining which models in your unit are eligible to fight, any models that are in the unit that are within 3 inches of one or more enemy models are eligible. When resolving this attack, such models can target one of those enemy units that is within 3 inches of them and within engagement range of their own unit. So this is why this is cool. So there's some nuance here. First of all, this doesn't extend your like fight activation. If your unit is not in engagement range at the time at which you have an opportunity to select a unit to fight, they still can't fight even if you've already used Relentless Momentum on them. They have to have either charged that turn already or have done something else. You could, I guess, you could sequence it such that if you multi-charge, you can select one of the units with Relentless Momentum before the other one attacks, and then extend your engagement range, but you still can't target enemy units that you aren't within an inch of. So it doesn't let you attack. It doesn't let you activate in the fight phase, even if you're not within engagement range, and it also doesn't let you attack new enemy units that you're that you would normally be eligible to. However, what it does do is it wildly extends the number of models that can attack anything. So if we're talking about these huge units, right, that are fast, we're talking about Primaris Crusaders. This is like the Primaris Crusader stratagem. Like, it's been purpose built for Primaris Crusader squads. Let's pull up their little data sheet over here. So we're rocking these 20-man units, right, that have relatively large bases, 28s and 32s. And you can do all sorts of weird stuff with them. Assuming you haven't been shot to hell before you get into engagement range, whenever they charge, they are likely to, because there's so many of them, they are likely to fill up all of the potential real estate where they can base enemies, which gives you a lot of control over your fight phase movement. Now, in 10th edition, the downside of this is that a lot of times you can't really, if you, for example, base all your opponent's models with your models, but still have like 10 models in your unit that are charging, but don't have to base anymore. The only requirement is that they then go towards the unit that they charged, but they don't have to go directly towards it. So you can do combat orbits. You can go at weird angles to potentially bring them within an inch of other units. Now, in previous editions, it was pretty easy if you're doing that to get extra models in engagement range. That's much more difficult in 10th edition because you either have to be within an inch of an enemy model to attack that model's unit, or you have to be base to base with it, or base to base with another friendly who's already base to base. This extends that engagement by basically an inch, 1 to 2 inches. So now, instead of having to be within an inch of an enemy unit, you have to be within 3 inches, as long as someone else from your unit is there next to them. And you also don't have to be base to base with your own guys. So, what you can do is essentially like execute multi-charges and use this stratagem to then extend the range at which the additional models, like the models in your unit, can attack the second target much greater than they normally would be able to. So let's say like your opponent has a tank and an infantry unit standing next to each other. You declare the tank as the charge target, but the infantry unit's farther away. You roll high enough to get to the tank. Half your unit bases the tank because it must. The rest of your unit can move towards the tank, but in such a way that they get close to the infantry unit. You then pile in with that unit. Your models are now closest to the enemy infantry unit, so they pile in into engagement range of it. However, because you're doing pile-ins, it's only a 3-inch move. You don't get too many guys in melee. However, you've used Relentless Momentum, so suddenly you can extend your engagement essentially to that enemy unit, as long as you have one guy within an inch of it, to 3 inches, and now the other half of your unit that aren't fighting the tank can also fight the infantry squad. And you've basically like doubled the number of models in your unit that can split into a second target. The obvious second use of this is just being able to put more dudes into a single fight, which oftentimes in 10th edition gets really awkward because your bases are relatively large and you have to be base to base with your other models in your unit. So if your whole unit is piling onto one enemy, you don't have to like do 2 ranks anymore. You can fight 3 inches away, which means you can get basically an additional rank into a single target. So this is either for large units to hit one thing super hard, or to do bizarre combat shenanigans where you can more effectively fight multiple units. And I think a really good player with this detachment is going to be able to use this stratagem in insane and crazy ways. It is important to note, though, with all this discussion, if you don't have anyone within an inch of another enemy unit, you still can't attack them. So I want to make it clear, because I think this is certainly going to get misplayed at one point. This doesn't extend your engagement range to 3 inches. It extends your targeting range to 3 inches as long as you're engaging the target already. So if you have no one within an inch of an enemy unit, but your whole unit is within 3 inches of them, you still can't fight. And unless you charge that turn, you're still not eligible to fight, unless you're engaging something else. Right? I want to make that really clear, because that's, I think, a really easy misread of the stratagem. But I think there's definitely going to be some players who get that wrong. If your unit gets based on one end with trash and charged by a real unit on the other hand, this strat could help deny that. That's also true. Yeah. That's fair as well, for sure. Your unit with the Sacred Rage. Because, yeah, you can do weird stuff to deny fight first, where you can pull units away from the actual target you want to fight. But obviously, if you just extend your engagement to 3 inches against them, then you can get another rank of dudes in. Yeah, so there's also some defensive stuff you can do with it too, potentially. So this is a really cool stratagem. I really like it. It's kind of like, it's basically a slightly different version of 6-inch pile-in and consolidate. At least when used on your turn, but you can use it on your opponent's turn to do stuff. It doesn't give you extra movement. It's probably not quite as good as a 6-inch pile-in consolidate, because the amount of movement you get is lower. But it's better if you're targeting, if you're trying to pile a huge unit into stuff. So I like it. I like this stratagem, and I do think that between this and this bonus to Grimaldus' unit, I do think that you basically take at least one big brick of Primaris Crusaders, if not 2. Imagine having a 6-inch pile-in. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, chat. I saw this stratagem and I was like, whoa, cool. I imagine they have a 6-inch pile-in. Nah. Because then the things you could do with this detachment, you're like, okay, the detachment has no raw power, but if you're incredible at the fight phase, you could absolutely slam people with it. But unfortunately, there's nothing like that. So it's kind of a side grade to the 6-inch pile-in consolidate. All right, with that, chat, I think we're gonna go ahead and move over to a list. So I was in the middle of building a list. Let me take a quick peek. And kind of wondering what to do with it. Here's where I'm at so far. So I think we windmill slam Grimaldus. And I think that we want a backup combat unit to Grimaldus. So I have a Halbrecht, Castellan Brick with a Primaris Crusader squad. They're going in a pulsar. One thing I like about the dedicated transports is that there's no real requirement that we start on the table. The only thing that being in a transport stops you from doing is targeting the unit with the Voice of Devotion. So you can't reselect your litany if you have started in a transport, but other than that, they are just affected by the buffs. So having, let's say, like an impulsor that is up in an aggressive spot, right? That's up in like the, behind an L in the middle of the table or whatever. And giving +2 move to the unit disembarking gives you essentially like an 11-inch plus charge threat from that impulsor. So if you can stage in an aggressive spot position, that +2 movement in addition to the 3-inch disembark actually makes this unit threaten really far. So this is kind of our anchor to fight in the center. If we can potentially knock out some ranged elements so your opponent can't kill them easily with ranged attacks, then we could also take Sacred Rage on a Castellan to give them fight first once per game. So that basically allows you to, like, really late game, these guys can come in and they can super dominate the middle of the table. Hellbrecht's already tough enough to kill. You have to get through a unit and a fight first dude. Theoretically, you're low on assets at that point. Now, the rest of the list is a little bit funky. I think I actually kind of I want to say that, like, Sternguard veterans are the like the real deal. One thing that this detachment doesn't really have, or this list, I guess, is like, it doesn't have a place it absolutely has to place its Oath of Moment. So you can play stuff that's Oath of Moment, like has an Oath of Moment contingent, like a Sternguard veteran squad, and then just Oath the thing you're going to shoot at, and then use your reroll ones in melee to fight in melee. I'm not sure what the delivery system for them is, because that's another unit that I would love to take in a transport, but they have no good transport options. Because their tactic is keyworded, so we can't put them in rhinos. We want 10s, I think. Unless you take, like, multiple 5s and put them in impulsors, but I'm not that excited about that. Or we just come off the table edge, but I'm also not that excited about that either. So that's why I'm conflicted. I do think Outrider squads are pretty good here. And I kind of liked the idea that you guys are putting forward of taking the devastating bike chaplain with an Outrider squad. Because if we can flip those guys into +1 strength, suddenly that unit is strength 6 with effective lance, right? Because they have an additional +1 strength on the charge. So strength 6 lance wounds most of the game on 4s. T12 you'll wound on 5s, but you're also bonus damage. So that feels really good. So I think we put one of those bad mamma jammas in there. So at least a bike chaplain with the upgrade. I can take 2 Sacred Rages apparently. Weird. And then on Outrider squad. And I also think that there is probably place for just additional Outrider squads or even invaders. 14-inch move invaders is like kind of sweet. But we could also just take, like, normal utility, like suppressors or whatever. In addition, I think we take some midboard stuff, so maybe some scouts, do some stuff, and I think we take some ballistic dreadnoughts because they're fucking stupid. I don't know. I do think we take a couple guns in here just to be able to keep our opponent's head down. I'm also. There's also a universe where these end up being Lancers. I actually think we might switch them for Lancers. Because the thing that I'm most worried about is a really, really passive army that's like a bunch of like big laser beam tanks. They can just chill in the back and do nothing. And then there's really no, like, you have no real recourse if they're just not going to engage with you. The Primaris Crusader squad. So we have a Castellan with Pyrebrand. So we have the Stealth Castellan who... actually, that might be wrong. Can we combo attach him with Grimaldus? I don't think we can. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure. No, we can't. So, just kidding. I was gonna attach him with Grimaldus to also get the Feel No Pain, but we can't do that now that I'm looking at it. Oh no! Shoot. Alright, well this is less good then. Well, the Assault Ramp transport doesn't actually have any synergy with the Relentless Hate. Because Assault Ramp lets you disembark after the transport, or lets you charge after the transport moves. but it doesn't let you move. So this move characteristic buff doesn't do anything for you. You also don't get +1 to advance. So like Land Raiders actually have kind of like anti-synergy with this detachment. Oh, all right. We're off Firebrand here then, champ. That makes me sad. Man. I like going through these lists where we can find all of the cool combos that just don't exist because of the Warhammer 40k's like weird rules. Well, that makes me a little bit sad. So let's not do that. Let's not cheat. That's my advice to you, everybody. Don't cheat. All right. I think I'm into additional Outriders. The downside of Outriders is that their AP is really low, but I do like them. When's the Deathwatch game? I already played it. We played Deathwatch on Friday. It was awesome. The game was really good, actually. I think I need to play Spectre skill teams more. But Deathwatch seems super duper solid. But I have another game scheduled up for Friday. So y'all subscribed on Twitch to make me play a whole pod with Deathwatch. So we registered for a tournament, the first game of the tournament's on Friday. So that's that we're locked in on that part. 10 Sternguard in a repulsor. Repulsors are so expensive and so mid, chat. That makes the whole combo a 400 point unit, which I don't know if I'm that excited about. You could put them in Land Raiders. I guess that could be the delivery system for your Sternguard veterans. I don't know if I'm that excited about that either. That doesn't seem like what we wanted to be doing. I wish you could put them in Rhinos. I would windmill slam Rhinos to Sternguard veterans literally all the time. But I guess we could do Inceptors, maybe? You don't have an AP boost, which I feel like Inceptors really need. But like Plasma Inceptor, like Doom Drop might be really good. I think that might be the way to go. How did the thief grab cap do? He got charged by a Black Knight brick. He killed it. So he killed like something random. An ATV, I think, and unlocked Thief of Secrets. Then it got shot by a Black Knight brick. It killed most of his unit. He tanked the company champion because he's half damage. He killed like the entire Ravenwing Black Knight squad, then teleported and made a 9-inch charge to try to kill a Lancer, and then flubbed out really hard on the Lancer. But it was a pretty reasonable chance that he killed. Oh no, he actually did. He kill another Lancer? I think he did. No, he straight up did. Yeah. So he killed an ATV, unlocked thief, got charged by a Black Knight squad, killed the Black Knight squad. Or at least enough of them so that they could get cleaned up by other stuff. Pushed through and killed a Lancer, and then charged a second Lancer and almost killed that Lancer too. We could drop pod the Sternguard. Oh, chat, you're so right. Fucking, I forgot drop pods existed. That's absolutely what we should do. So we have, yeah, no, that makes sense. Literally, so I've been attaching characters to Sternguard veterans for so long that I always just wrote off the drop pod because you have to kill units in your models in your own unit to take them. But we're not doing that here, so we could just take drop pods. Wait, where are they? Wait, our drop. Hold up, chat. Are drop pods not dedicated transports? Wait. Is this real? Am I crazy? Or is new recruit? Oh my god. I'm learning so many new things today, chat. The drop pod is not a dedicated transport. It's just a drop pod. You can just take empty drop pods? The world's dumbest utility unit? That's insane. Wait, that's sick. That's super cool. So if you're like, hey man, I'm not into dropping my dudes out today. I'm just going to play a normal drop pod. He's just going to deep strike and he's going to do an action. What's that? I need our area denial. Drop pod, turn 1. He's just there now. You can also just like hold your backline objective with them. Wait, what? What the fuck? They have an OC value? Excuse me? Definitely not as good as taking a real unit, but certainly a use case for drop pods if we don't need them. That's fucking nuts. How did I... Alright, we're taking drop pod. And some Stern Guard veterans. So, yeah, here's the cool thing. Here's a big Stern Guard squad. Interestingly, actually, it is, I think, more efficient here to take 2 units of 5 Stern Guard. There is no reason in this case to take 10 Stern Guard. I assume drop pods don't have like weird... Oh, I closed my drop pod window. I assume drop pods don't have like weird things about 1 unit. No, just 10 models, yeah. The meme builds begin. Listen, chat. We could put 10 captains in a drop pod. I'm just saying. That's so nuts. I guess they're maybe worried about you taking 6 drop pods. Although that was like a legit build back in the day. So like it's a little bit weird that they would say you can't do that. So yeah, there's no reason, because they're outside of Armor of Contempt, which is whatever. A 1 activation maybe thing is, who cares? There's no reason to take units larger than... That was my computer, by the way, I apologize. Larger than 5, because it gives you better control. Oh, I guess it's like... It could be weird for rapid fire. You could take a 2 5s or a 10. I don't know, either one. But it gives you like more control over what you're doing. Although I think generally what you want to be doing is just like pounding into a big vehicle or something. I think you're okay with killing infantry probably for the most part. They did literally make a captain, but like, are the captains not just better in for Blood Angels better in Liberator? Liberator's so good. It's like impossible to get out from under it. All right, so we have like Power Fist dudes and the Stern Guard veteran squads. Love it. And then a Sword Brother and Impulsor unit, a drop pod team, a bunch of Outriders, and some backline shooting. So what we could do here is take Lancers. Ball Dreadnoughts are really cool. But also, I really like Lancers to kill heavy stuff, because we have no access to ignore cover. Unless we take a Hammer Strike. So we could cut an Outrider and get a Hammer Strike. And then something that costs less than 50 points. A Priest. To hold our backline. I think that's literally the only option here. We have no more spots for enhancements. Yeah. So it's a Priest. Also, thematically appropriate. And I think there's our list, chat. We also could, if we cut the Sacred Rage, which I actually don't think I like the Sacred Rage, I think. You could combine Impulsor and Ballistus into Repulsor Executioners. No, but you don't want to do them with, like, they do different things, right? The downside of the Repulsor, of the Executioner, is that it can function as either a transport or a battle tank, but not really both. Because the transports you want to give your unit a place to stage, and the battle tanks you want them to sit in the back and trade shots with your opponent. And if the if the Executioner's in the back, it's not staging your melee stuff. And if it's staging your melee stuff, it's just going to get, like, charged. Which doesn't feel great. How's the new detachment looking? It's not great, but it's cool. Like, I don't even know about it's cool. It's not that exciting, but there is some, like, interesting things you can do. They need an impactful roll of triple save. Yeah, like, realistically, fucking get the transport capacity out of there. It's stupid. Pull up a Repulsor Executioner here, chat. I really... I don't know why Repulsor Executioners have a transport capacity. It's never made sense to me, and I think that it makes them more expensive for literally no gain, right? Because suddenly you have to like, you know, you're almost certainly paying for instead of having an additional ability, you're paying for having transport capacity. But it's not a unit that works very well with the transport capacity. I actually think it, in some cases, like, it leads a lot of new players astray, because I see players being like, I have a transport in my list because I took a Repulsor Executioner. I should put a unit in there, and then they take, like, trash units to go inside their Executioner. They don't do anything. But I think it just, like, you just switch this thing for Aquiline Optics, and then suddenly it's just a bigger and scarier Lancer, and it's just an upgrade to a Lancer, and I think that's much more reasonable. The problem is that the Lancer does the big battle tank roll better, because it's more consistent. It doesn't sweep infantry as well, which is the difference. But, like, fine. This was the original Aquiline Optics tank, though. It used to get double shots when it lined up. If it moved 5 inches or less, it doubled its attacks on its laser cannon, which was sick. How do they drive themselves without people inside? You got this little guy in the cupola. He's got Zospecs. He's driving the whole tank by himself. Would Assault Centurions be okay in the Templar detachment? I think they'd be fine. I don't know if they have any, like, explicit synergy. Like, +2 movement is good on them, so I think they would be as good as anything else, to be honest. That's a unit that I would give fight first to, but unfortunately you can't do that because they have no attachment options. Alright, so here's where we're at. Only reason for transport is, like, protecting things you were going to hold the backline with for mid-direct, yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think in the current update, that unit is probably Intercessors, though, and the Intercessors want to start on the battlefield. It's, like, makes them worse if you embark them. Or they're Infiltrators, I guess, and you can start the Infiltrators inside the transport, which is fine, but... Again, I don't know, it's like a weird thing. I don't really understand why it has transport capacity too. I think it's just because it has doors on it. But you're like, what? Do like regular battle tanks not have doors? Like, I don't understand. Sorry. All right. So let's talk. Here's the list. We got Helbrecht. We got Grimaldus. We have a Castellan with the fight first to go with Helbrecht. They're going to hang out with the Primaris Sword Brethren inside a Black Templars Impulsor. So they're going to be our late game anchor, basically. We have Chaplain Grimaldus with his big brick, so we have 20 Primaris Crusaders with Chaplain Grimaldus. We can get +1. We have +1 to advance on a stick, so we can make these guys threaten really far with Grimaldus's advance and charge litany. So that's great. This unit, I think, unironically, is super good in this detachment. No bad things to say about it. Or we can make them hard to kill, the 5+ invulnerable save, and a 5+ feel no pain. We can't make them stealth, though. Good thing I learned that. We have double scouts for scoring, and we could actually... I think double scouts is fine. We could cut some stuff for... I actually wonder if suppressors are, like, super sick here, because you can move 14 suppressors are definitely a thing. But we have Outriders as well. So for utility, double Scouts, double Outriders. We can buff the Outrider movement or strength with the detachment rules. So they can either be super fast or they can hit at strength 6. Both of those are very good, and I think the idea here is that we're going to clear some screens. We want to basically sweep infantry to allow to prevent movement blocking on the Sword Brethren, on the Primaris Crusaders, excuse me, and then also open up for our Stern Guard drop. So we have one with a chaplain, with a bike chaplain with the devastating wounds. He seems pretty sweet, actually. So his unit, I think, is a little bit another like late unit. They can kind of stage with the impulsor and then go in and just blow people up, which seems pretty good. Double ballistic dreadnoughts in here to add some backline shooting, and then the drop pod with the Stern Guard veterans. We don't really care about oathing anything in particular because we can get rerolls in melee already. Just with our litanies. So you can oath whatever the Stern Guard veteran are going to doom drop on, and then just kind of play the rest of the army like normal. And then they can come in with all the devastating wounds, and they average like 10-ish damage, I think, just pounding into a target with the full rerolls and devastating. So I think that's pretty good, because what we need to do is we need to kill backline shooting stuff so we can really dominate with the Crusaders and Helbrecht. And then we have a Hammer Strike to synergize with the two Ballistic Dreadnoughts. The real downside of them is that their AP is like kind of mid. So 3+ or 2+ saves in cover is really problematic for them. The Hammer Strike gives us a long range option to strip cover. So these three will just sort of like wander around together. And anytime the Stern Guard veteran aren't doom dropping something, you can just like oath whatever you're shooting at. Or even just run the ballistics by themselves. They don't really care about rerolls. And then we have a priest who's gonna sit in our backline, I think, and hang out, and he's gonna preach to the masses, which is on theme, and also we had points left over. And that's the list, chat. I think that's okay. That's certainly a list. Seems pretty fine. Very few tanks have doors. Oh, you're right. They have hatches. That's you know what, chat? You're correct. You got me. Could throw them in a transport for the 9-inch move. Throw who? Throw which ones in the transport? Sorry. The executioner started as a repulsor and some tech rooms, like with a bit of a big fucking gun on it. I mean, that's also how the kit was built. I just assembled my first Lancer on Friday after the stream game, and I was, I guess, not particularly surprised to discover that the Lancer is just the impulsor kit, but it has an extra sprue with the turret. I was like, okay, fair enough. They love doing that. I have a Razorback sitting. Oh, it's on my shelf, I think now. I have a Razorback sitting in a box in case I ever need it. If I ever want to play Devastator squads. And these guys are classic. It's a Rhino, but it has an extra sprue for the little turret. That's a classic GW design. Oh, Assault Centurions? Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely not terrible. Again, like, I think they're worse than just if you played them in Gladius Task Force, but I think that's true of most things. And we're trying to find ways to make the detachment feel unique. And I think this is a pretty good variety. I actually really like +2 move on Outrider squads. Or +1 strength. I think the new Outrider rules are really cool, and these units are probably underplayed. But I imagine that's changing. I played against Blood Angels Outriders the other day, and I was very impressed. Just advance and charge on a move 12 body. They're resilient, right? T5, 12 wounds for the unit, and in that detachment, they're like yeah, whatever, 5 attacks apiece. You know, strength 7. But in this one, they're okay. They're strength 6. What kind of addict has unbuilt boxes laying around, dude? So it's over here. Look at all this shit, bro. Look at all that. It's all unbuilt. Also, I got a Norn. That's new in box. Never been opened. Actually, I opened it to look at the sprues. That kill team in the back, that's unopened as well. I bought that for the Tau models like ages ago and then never played Tau. Oh, whole Tau army behind me right here. Whole ass Tau army. And then I had this cool second edition box I got vintage on the yard sale, which I was super excited about. I showed that one off on stream though. These were mostly the spoils of tournament games, I think. I would build potential armies off of store credit from tournaments. Buying stuff is the easiest part of 40K. It's probably true, actually. Yeah. The second edition box. This is third, to be fair, but that has very special sentimental value to me because when I was a little kid, my parents walked into a game store because my dad was really into modeling. And he wanted to see the models. He did trains. And I was like 6, maybe 5. And I saw that box on the wall. That's the Black Templars. Oh, thematic. Black Templars. That's the Black Templars versus Drukhari box. And I saw they were like demoing. They had the Drukhari box, the old Drukhari like army set. That had like it had like a really brutal cover. Let me see if I can find it. And it was just like it was real like yeah, it was on the Codex cover, but I think there was an army box that had the cover art. Oh, now I can't find it. All right, it was the Codex though. And that was like, I remember that artwork in such vivid fucking detail because I thought it was like, I was like, look at these little miniatures. They had the land speeder in there. I thought the land speeder was cool as hell. And from the starter set, and then they had this. They had a boxed set with this on it, with the cover art on it, but it was also the Codex art. I think it had all probably been newly released, I imagine. And I remember this artwork like so vividly because it's just so fucking wild, dude. It's like insanely metal. And I was like, whoa, this game is cool. So anyway, that's my story. So I remember that third edition box very vividly, having never even played it. I demoed the game in third, but I actually never played in third. And then when I was a little bit older, I started fourth and then played through fifth. So I was maybe... I don't know. I must have been 10 or 12 when I started and then ended out at like... But I went to college and stopped playing. Theory crafting, how you're going to go undefeated LVO. No, everything is going to go perfect and all your dice are going to roll 6s. This is the easiest part of 40K. True. Indeeders, dude. Still have the tiny corner ruin that came with the third edition starter set? Hell yeah. that little fucking... let's say... I bet there's a picture. Oh, yeah, dude. Lexicanum has an entry for it. Look at this little fucking thing. It's classic. I love that they were like, hey, play with 4 trees and 2 tiny ruins. Oh, and a tank trap. That's your terrain. But it was the third edition. Nobody fucking died in third edition. Fire 1,000,000 bolter shots at a space marine and kill 1. Ah, look at these trash ass models. They look so bad now. But man, did they look cool when I was a kid. He's such a cute little guy. He's doing his best, you know? I'm trying to block line of sight. The templates were clear, not yellow. Yeah, this might have been. I think they went through a bunch of iterations of the templates, right? Because they changed like plastic materials and stuff. But I have seen templates in yellow. In 5th, they went to green, which were cool. And the whippy sticks. Classic. Fucking classic, dude. What a time to be alive. All right, chat. Ugh. The second edition box with the cardboard orc dreadnought. Oops. Ugh. You had to pay for that click there. Got him. Lexicanum's got my back, dude. I used the hell out of this cover art in my Final Liberation video, by the way. Because I was just like, this was what 40k looked like at the time. Oh, is this cardboard terrain? Dude, that's fucking sick. They give you a whole ass city of cardboard terrain. That's the way to do it. Look at that. Look at that dreadnought, though. Look at that fucking cardboard boy. Guys, we want to give you a vehicle, but we can't afford to actually make vehicles. So here's a picture of one. This was at the time where, like, a bunch of stuff was just armor cast, right? Like regular tanks. Like Lehman Russ and Basilisks were like armor cast sculpts. Like the game didn't really play with vehicles in 2nd edition, which was wild to think about. Well, they made a miniature of the Blood Angels guy in 2012. That's cool. I love when they do callbacks to that old like Blanchitsu artwork. The wacky red six. They were inaccurate as fuck, yeah. And they would break. Anyone ever break them? I broke like every one I ever had. Because I would always like swish them around because it was fun. And then they would just snap in half. Constantly. Oh man, you got 20 battle runes. That's good. Are those tokens? Wait, 2nd edition 40k had tokens? How far the mighty have fallen, chat. It was $34.99 GBP. How much money was that? When does this come out? 1993? That was like probably equivalent of like $99, I guess. The pound has lost 61% of its value. 35? $90. This is equivalent of 90 pounds. So I guess like $100, $120 or something like that. Which is very reasonable. Is that what the starter set costs right now? Let's see what the shrinkflation has done to a. What could you get for $120 as a starter set of Warhammer 40k now? I don't even know how much Warhammer 40k starts. What starter sets cost? You get this. Oops. Come back. So we went from 20 Space Marines and like 40 orcs. Oh, the model counts are not too dissimilar. And a bunch of cardboard terrain to some dice and some tape and some measures and a mat. A little cardboard mat. But there's no paper cutout Carnifex here, so it's basically trash. But they don't have any battle runes. You don't get any battle runes in the starter set, so why even bother, dude? If you don't have battle runes, why even play? You know what I mean? Horrible. So it's like, it was like, oh, I guess it's actually way more orcs. I think these are units of 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, these are like 36 Gretchen or something. How many Gretchen did you get? 40? Okay, you got 60 orcs and 20 Space Marines, and now you get like 25 Tyranids. But to be fair, it's a winged prime and a monster and a psychophage, and the models are much bigger. And then like it's 10 Space Marines, but half of them are Terminators. So like you have inflated the models a little bit, but it's not quite as impressive as I was kind of expecting, to be honest. Did they have a difference between the launch box and the starter set? No, I don't believe so. That's a new thing. Because like the launch box is now the ultimate starter set, right? Which is like twice as expensive, but you get terrain and shit. And to be fair, the terrain's nice in this one. And you get a bunch more models, you get all the extra stuff. This is like the real starter set. This is like an actual game that you can play. Although fitting like fucking 40 models on a like quarter size board feels a little bit small, but like, I'll charge you on turn 1, I guess. Here come my Terminators. Whoop. But that's okay. All right, chat. Well, this was a fun little a little trip down memory lane. A little tactical tangent over there, but I do have to hop off and get some real life stuff done. We're prepping for the move next month over to Philadelphia. So I have to do a bunch of work on that front. But I will be live tomorrow, and I'm actually going to make sure I set up my redirect. Because I do have the stream set up tomorrow. I have it set for 11 a.m. I may be late, however, because I'll do a Best Armies video tonight. So depending on how long that takes me, I might end up falling asleep. But yeah, I'll definitely be on stream tomorrow, and I think we'll have a game on Twitch, and then I'll probably talk about, I think, Tau maybe in the afternoon. So we'll be live basically all day on Monday, which will be sweet. So come hang out with me over there. Nurgle Matt, again, thanks for the huge super chat, Brady. I appreciate you, dude. You're amazing. Favorite description of the baby starter set? I want to watch what 5 Infernus Marines do to 10 Gaunts, then go home. Yeah, what a fucking mismatch. But the weird thing that like blew my fucking mind was that like they were like, hey, here's the starter sets. And it was like, it was 10th edition Tyranids. Like, fucking okay, dude. Versus Index Space Marines, full reroll Oath of Moment Space Marines with Flamers. And you're fighting Tyranids with like fucking the stupid, like just a bunch of stupid Gaunts. And then when they did the, whatever the campaign was, like the little tiny narrative campaign they did when the edition came out, Tyranids like overwhelmingly won it. I was like, what? What is happening? When like realistically they should just be tabled in like one turn. But they were like, all the Tyranid players came out of the woodwork and killed everyone, I guess, which is wild. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pop off, everybody. Thanks for watching and thanks for hanging out with me. I will talk to you tomorrow. We're gonna talk World Eaters and we're gonna talk, I think, Tau. And with that, let's sign out. So cheers. Keep it classy, folks. Have happy wargaming. I'll see you in the next one.